Is it easier for a man or a woman to acquire sex?
It is much easier for a woman to acquire sex.
Why is that?
Because we choose. We choose whether or not we have the option of whether or not we're going to let a man have sex or not.
I don't think that that's necessarily true.
Don't women typically consent to sex?
Consent goes both ways.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. What's the longest that a man's ever made you wait for sex?
You know what? It's happened. I don't know.
But does that typically happen?
Maybe.
No. Some men don't typically make a woman wait for sex. If it's a woman that she wants to have sex with, he's not going to make her wait at all. If you're man enough, strong enough to do it, well, fine, do it. But
No, it doesn't typically happen.
Okay, so isn't it fair to say that women generally control access to sex more than men
If
do?
a woman wants sex, she can get it. If a man wants sex, doesn't mean that he can necessarily get it.
Okay, so is it safe to say that women typically control access to sex more than men do?
yeah. Why is it taking her so long to answer? It's a yes. That's obviously a yes.
Because it's easier for a woman to get sex than it is for a man?
I don't like the phrasing that you're boxing me into, but I would.
But I mean, would you have a different way of explaining it? I mean, is that not generally true?
I think that
I mean, if it's easier for a woman to get sex and it's harder for a man to get sex, we can't conclude that women typically control access?
Yeah.
okay.
It's easier for a girl for sure.
Yeah, guys are thirsty.
Since it's harder for men, should women be
guys
surprised
are
that guys
thirsty.
have lower standards for sex than women?
Not really, because I mean, they just want to get it in, right?
Yeah, real quick. I don't know.
Don't women have the privilege of being more picky because they have more options?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Don't
That's
women
it.
have the privilege of being more picky because they have more options?
Yes.
Have you ever heard of an incel?
No.
An incel?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Have you ever heard of an incel?
No.
Okay, incel stands for involuntarily celibate, and it refers to a person who can't get any sex. Who is more likely to be involuntarily celibate, men or women?
Man.
Men.
Men. I think it's 1 in 3 men are not having sex right now.
In today's society, if a man goes up to a woman and asks her for her number or Snapchat, he's looked at as like a creep and a pervert. But if a woman goes up to a man, it's 100% okay, which is not okay to me.
Why are men shamed for not being able to get sex, but also shamed for trying to get sex?
That's a good question. I think it's the way they go about trying to get sex, because women want relationships. Well, I can't say all women, but a good amount of women want relationships, and when you meet the men that just want sex, it kind of tarnishes everything.
Is it fair to shame men for being incels when women are the ones who control access to sex?
I don't think you should shame anybody for anything.
Is it fair to shame men for being incels when women are the ones who control access to sex?
No, not at all.
Isn't that victim shaming?
Yes, 100%.
Is.
Isn't every man who's been rejected temporarily an incel?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to portray incels as lazy, immature losers because they don't conform to women's standards and selectivity?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I mean, some men.
Fucking
Some men.
incel.
If a man can't get sex, he might be made fun of and called names just for that. And then, well, also I think if a man does get a lot of sex, it might be like everyone praises him also for getting a lot of sex. So I don't really think that there's a whole lot of men out there that are getting shamed for having a lot of sex.
Is it fair to portray incels as lazy, immature losers because they don't conform to women's standards and selectivity?
Negative.
No.
Everybody is built different and has their own standards in life.
If a man does conform, does that make him a simp?
Negative.
No.
Why is it more acceptable to shame men for having low standards versus shaming women for having unrealistic high standards?
That's a good question.
That is right. I'm speechless on that one.
Oh yeah, you kind of got me flabbergasted on that one.
Right, you're flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest. Whoever seems like they're about to get it in, gets it in, and they continue their genes and whatnot. But besides that, like, I don't know.
So would you say, based on that, that women ultimately control the evolution of society
Yes.
Based on the men that they choose?
Yes, it's because it's like the mating rituals. Like they say yes or no in most breeds.
So then
like
how are we
species.
living in a patriarchy where men have all the power?
Just because that's how society was set up when women were supposed to stay home and take care of the kids and the guys went out and did all that shit and we're supposed to rely on them.
What is the longest you've gone without having sex?
A year?
What is the longest by choice you've gone without having sex?
A year?
Probably like
That's cap.
18 years.
What is the longest by choice you've gone without having sex?
Probably like a month.
Who's more likely to lie about how long they've gone without sex, men or women?
Women.
Don't men lie about getting more and women lie about getting less?
No.
Think about it, man.
Yeah.
Don't men lie about getting more and women lie about getting less?
Yes,
Why?
because we're seen as being tarnished for the more sex that we have.
Why are women who sleep around seen as sluts while men who sleep around are seen as studs?
Because men don't want to see that their woman that they have prospect to be interested in has been with every man.
Could it be because it's easier for a woman to be a slut?
No,
Well, don't women control access to sex?
they do, but there are many male sluts. They're just being praised for being that way.
But isn't it harder for a man to be a male slut than it is for a woman to be a female slut?
Depends on the man.
Wouldn't you say that the high value men with lots of options are rare?
Yeah.
Yep.
So then wouldn't you say that it's more likely for your average woman to be a female slut than your average man?
Yes.
Women sleep with who they want, men sleep with who they can.
Facts.
That's a fact.
What's the difference between shaming a woman for being a slut and shaming a man for being an incel? In other words, why are women shamed for having too much sex while men are shamed for not getting any sex?
Well, women
Because woman has the vagina. That's just it. So they're going to be shamed for having too much sex because they are the one that provide life. And they're the one that has the vagina that the man wants. And our cannot do nothing in this earth. Nothing at all than produce sperm and let the woman provide life. That's just it. So that's why we always shame women when they have sex with multiple men and give a man and crown when he has sex with multiple women. That's just it. Simple. It's that simple.
can't have sex without being attached in some way. It's just in our innate.
What do you mean they can't have sex?
Not that they can't have sex. They can't have sex without having some type of emotional attachment.
Why do you think men are
No, it's not. It don't have to be emotional. It can. It's just only sexual connection. It's just a sexual connection. That's just it. That's just it. Just a sexual connection.
more likely to be able to have sex without feelings than women?
Because you guys are made to procreate.
The name is involuntarily celibate, so the man is not choosing.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice for that one.
Oh,
but
yeah.
us females, we definitely have a choice to be a slut or not.
Well, because women control access to sex.
I control whether you take my clothes off or not.
We do.
Don't women have a choice to be a slut, but a man doesn't have a choice to be an incel?
Yeah.
So then why would it be worse to call a woman a slut than it is to call a man an incel?
I don't know why it would be worse.
But our society labels it as worse.
They label being an incel worse than being a slut?
Well, in other words, a lot of women resent being called a slut when they have
Correct.
a choice to be a slut, but it's okay for men to be called incels when men don't have a choice to be an incel because men don't control access to sex.
I think men don't have the choice on what they're doing, but nowadays with social media going the way it is, women have actually embraced slut. And that's the problem.
Do you think women today are more interested in relationships or hookups?
That's tough.
You know, I would say more hookups today.
Why?
Because they have all these rappers, you know, influencing them, like basically they're trying to play the role as men, you know, they're trying to play us out of our money, and it's bullshit.
Me personally, I'm more interested in relationships. Women nowadays, I think, are more worried about their careers and hookups.
So if women are more interested in hookups, how can a man let a woman know he just wants to hook up without making her feel like a slut?
There isn't a way, no matter what.
So
There's clearly no way. No way. No way.
Aren't we kind of damned if we do, damned if we don't?
Yes, you are.
Would you rather have the best sex you've ever had or the best food you've ever eaten?
Best, let me guess. Best sex.
Best food you ever eaten?
Yeah, food for sure.
Best food I've ever eaten.
I'm a foodie. I like food.
Would you rather eat
I mean, most women nowadays most of the women not nowadays, but most women love food than they love sex. I would not say for all women. Most of these women love food more than they love sex. That's just it. Simple.
all the junk food you want without gaining weight, or have unlimited sex without being slut-shamed?
Unlimited sex without being slut-shamed.
Who are the bigger slut-shamers, men or women?
Women.
Women?
Why are there men who shame women for being sluts when men also complain about how hard it is to get laid? Are those the same men?
No. I think the men that are calling women sluts are looking for a woman that aren't sluts.
If a woman's body count doesn't matter, why is it typically the first thing women bring up to shame another woman they are jealous of? In other words, why would a woman ever slut shame another woman?
Because they know deep down body count does matter.
Is the main reason women don't want to be easy is because they don't want to be shamed? Or could it be that they don't want to relinquish their sexual power over men?
I don't think either one of those. I think the reason why women don't want to be easy is because we don't want to have a body count, because we want to find somebody that wants us for who we are, and the guys that we're looking for don't want a woman with high body count.
Why is it okay for women to feel entitled to be protected and provided for, but it's wrong for men to feel entitled to sex and intimacy?
I think after being provided for so long, and once you're comfortable in the relationship, that men are going to expect for you to be intimate with them at a certain point.
Are women doing men a favor by giving them sex?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
That's a typical answer for them. Yes.
For a moment.
If a woman rewards a man with sex, why is there still pressure on him to perform and satisfy her?
I feel like men can be selfish.
But girls will not come back if they're not like doing well. Yeah.
Well, why should a man have to earn the opportunity to please you sexually?
Because women get to decide everything in other species, so why not human species?
Okay, but then if that's true, then why do we complain about being in a male-dominated patriarchy where men control women?
Because
got you with that one.
it's the hunter and gatherer type of discussion, because we had to stay at home and wait for the men to come and hunt and bring that shit back to us for us to like cook and shit. So that's where it started.
Are there female incels?
I think so, maybe.
Would it be fair for society to shame a lonely old cat lady for being involuntarily celibate?
No.
How likely are men to have sex with a lonely woman out of pity?
I guess it depends on who you ask. I'd say pretty likely.
How likely are women to have sex with lonely men out of pity?
Oh, unlikely. They just want men that are rich and famous.
How likely are women to have sex with lonely men out of pity?
Not so likely.
Why is that?
Because a woman wants a
We want a man with status. Simple.
man that looks strong and feels strong, and she feels like she's going to be protected, and that's what they look for. So if you look like you're the weak one cowering in the corner, she's probably not going to go up to you.
Men think that there are these issues. Like, if you were more confident, or if you just like put yourself out there more, you just like, F it, whatever, just do it. I guarantee you, it doesn't matter what the woman's standards are. That's what they're attracted to.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So if you woke up tomorrow and you were a guy and you wanted to get laid like most guys do, how would you do it?
I'd go to a bar, find my pretty girl sitting at the bar, sit down, and I'd ask them if I could buy them a drink. Literally. It's all you have to do. Make your...
She thinks it's that simple. Most of you women reject men so often nowadays that some of these men don't even want to go to bars, clubs, nowhere at all. I mean, she has a point, but you women reject men so often that most of us don't even want to do that shit no more.
There. Present yourself. Be confident.
I understand that, but if that was true, why would there be so many guys who complain about being stuck in the friend zone?
because they're too busy trying to be the nice guy. They're not actually presenting themselves that they want this. They're looking like the friend, so we see them as a friend.
Do you prefer a man who is a gentleman or a bad boy?
I like a gentleman.
Is it fair to say
funny.
women lust after bad boys but want to settle down with nice guys?
Yes.
How do bad boys treat women?
Like shit.
What's the difference between a man who spoils his woman and a man who's whipped?
What's the difference between a man that spoils his woman and a man that's whipped?
His level of consent and his part in happiness in doing whatever he's doing for his woman. If he's not happy doing it, if he's resenting her,
It depends on the authority that he puts down. Like, there can be a man that spoils his woman in a certain way. He takes her to dinner, he takes her out, he takes her on vacation. And then there's the men that literally bow down hand and foot for their women, that their women are running all over them.
If a woman expects to be spoiled, doesn't that mean she expects her man to be whipped?
No.
Do men shame each other for being whipped the same way women slut shame each other for being easy?
Yes.
I don't know about that. I do know that men will shame their friends for being whipped, and I think that's a problem with the patriarchy.
Does every incel hate women?
No.
Does every feminist hate men?
Probably, yes. Yes.
Does every incel hate women?
I don't believe every incel hates women. I think that they might be shyer than most men. I think more alpha males end up getting more sex than more beta males do.
Does every feminist hate men?
Yes. I'm not a feminist. I am more of a traditional woman, so I really can't speak on the feminist woman because I don't agree with most of them.
What is the patriarchy?
Patriarchy is, you're gonna make me describe this.
How do you define it?
Well, the old white men who have deemed what is acceptable for men and women, the roles of men and women, social norms, the leads. It's all back to old white men deciding for everybody.
Very fun.